Now, food stamps are a pretty big subject right now. And I'm going to try and touch on a few things here, and hopefully I don't go too long. But let's see how smart or educated or uneducated you really are. Now, we've seen baby mothers with 6 kids, and people say, like, you can't afford them. Why are you having them? And this goes on and on. Let me talk about them for a bit. And yes, there are women out there, they do this for a living. They also look for men that become their firstborn because that's where they get the most support from. And then they'll go out and find another man and do the same thing. These are very evil women. But at the same time, these women have entered a trap and they don't even know it. So let's say this woman's got 6 kids. She has a kid every year. She can get food stamps probably for 25 years. Who knows? Maybe 30. And sooner or later, they're going to run out. You know, maybe when she gets in her 50s, maybe when she's 55. But now she has no education. She has no life skills, no job skills. I mean, all she knows is scamming. She will not be able to hold a job. Chances are she may end up becoming homeless or end up trying to take advantage of some man to move in with to have a roof over her head. It's not a good thing that she's leading her life into. It's not like she planned for those kids. It's not like she said, okay, you know, I'm going to get a good paying job. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to make sure I can afford those kids, right? So they're not necessarily getting away with anything like a lot of people think. How about the person who sells them? This is a messed up situation with food stamps when people sell. I've had people ask me to buy their food stamps. And I've always said no, because that is illegal, by the way. There's even been local businesses that have been caught buying them, you know, and, you know, they'll put something else down on the register. Oh, they bought bread, they bought this, but they actually bought smokes. Some people sell them to buy cigarettes. Some people sell them to buy drugs. Some people sell them to buy booze. There are many reasons why they sell them. And then, of course, some people sell them because they can't afford to pay the power bill. So they go that route. You are going to find in people in general that when survival mode kicks in, they will do what it takes to survive. And if it happens to be a drug addiction or if it happens to be alcohol or something like that, then that's what's going to go on. And there will always be somebody out there that is willing to buy them because they don't pay taxes when they buy food. So, you know, I'd say $400, they'll say, look, give me $300 cash and you can have my food stamp card for $400. There's always going to be somebody out there willing to do that. And that's the sad part. Now, you'll see videos of people saying we owe them and we have to give them their food stamps and stuff like that. And all kinds of YouTubers are making money out of this. That's generated by a hate video. Okay, if I can make a hate video about people's destruction in their lives, and they could very well be just bad actors because they're trying to make money too. It could be all a bunch of bullshit, just one big lie. And the people fall for it every time. This was actually created way back when Phil Donahue was on. If you don't know who he is, go watch a couple shows on that. The people that played on that show were actors. They were paid. And there were crazy situations that they drummed up. And people would watch that show regularly and they would be like, glad my family's not like that. When it didn't exist. They were actors. Nothing more. It's not hard to find somebody on the internet doing something or dressing in purple or dancing around like an idiot just to get views because they want to have attention. We do have a society that has a lot of mental people out there, and we must keep that in mind. Heck, we can't even believe the right or the left, the Democrats or the Republicans, on anything they say on social media. They all lie. Donald Trump lies. There's nobody that tells the truth. There's no consequences for anything nowadays. Everything is wide open. And that's all there is to it. And as long as there's no consequences for anything, then it's not going to change. You know, it's not like a news service gets a special seal that says, yes, they are news services and they will do everything in their power to report the truth and sign a contract and can be sued if something goes wrong. I mean, but, you know, it doesn't exist. So it's actually not even worth listening to news. It really isn't. Because literally you're listening to liars. Totally unproductive for your life, to be quite honest with you. Food stamps is given out once a month. This is another big mistake of the government where that's not how it usually works for most people. Now, I run my own business, so my money's all over the place. But the average person usually gets paid on a weekly or bi weekly basis. And they have to learn to budget that money every week or every 2 weeks, or else they end up homeless. Food stamps shouldn't be any different. They should be issued once a week or once every 2 weeks. Now, on that note, you should note that I've seen a lot of people will say, oh, look at that buggy, it's full of groceries. I wish I could afford that. And yes, chances are that person is probably on food stamps. But you won't see them again for another month. To where a working man will be in there spending, $300 or $400, and he'll buy half a buggy and go home, and maybe a week later buy another, another $400, and basically week to week you go out and do your groceries looking for sales and deals. At least that's what a working person does. The person that's on food stamps is not doing that. They're buying it all in one shot. So they're actually not getting any great deals. If the supermarkets want, they can up the prices on the first when food stamps comes out and basically make more money. Which means the working guy shouldn't be out there buying groceries, then he should wait a week and then consider it. And I'm sure that's going on with the corporations because everybody's out to make a buck, right? There is bad actors. Now, I talked about this a little bit. There's people out there acting, all different colored people, and they're all saying how you owe them, and people make videos on them, and then these YouTubers make money, and then they type in their comments, oh my God, put them to work. I've even seen on Trump's channel where he posts stuff like that. I mean, hate videos generate views and clicks, and people actually believe them. And that's the sad part. They'll sit back and they'll say, oh, that news service is a liar. I won't listen to them. They lie. Well, you don't think there's people out there lying about that and bad actors doing that? Social media is nothing but a big lie. It's very rare that you find somebody like me or a few other people that are actually trying to be truthful. I mean, a lot of them are using AI to generate videos now. YouTube even had to make rules that they're not going to pay AdSense for people that are using them, that are making AI videos. But that took a year to come around. But they made good money until then. Disabled, elderly, and vets. They fall in between the cracks. They probably get ripped off the most. They don't get very much because they don't have kids. Elderly are not, it goes by income, and usually their houses are paid off, and they usually don't get a whole lot. If they're lucky, they'll get $100, maybe 200. I don't know. I know they don't get much. How do I know that? Well, we have a food bank that's 1 hour away in my town. We don't have nothing here. You have to drive an hour. Well, not everybody has a car. What was it? 6, 7 years ago, I was taking my dog for a walk, and there's this elderly woman down the street. And I don't know how old she is. I mean, I seen her one time sitting on the porch, and she was always very happy. She'd say hello, and I'd say hello. And then, we got talking. And I asked her, does she go to the food bank one time? It was like 6 months later or so. And she turned around and she says, no, I don't have a car. I said, oh, you don't need a car. I'll take you. I says, do you know when it is? She says, I don't know, but I can find out. I said, well, you find out. Let me know. You know where I live. So she found out, and she come down, and she says, it's on this day. We can go between these times. I said, all right, well, make sure you're ready, and I'll take you. So I took her down. She was so happy. Oh, my God, she was so happy. A little bit of kindness, guys, is pretty amazing. It really is just a matter of getting to know your neighbors a little bit, nothing more. So I take her once a month. She's still alive. She's an old bird. And I take her down to actually get her whatever food they're offering. It ain't much. I think it's enough food for a couple days. Some of it's spoiled. It's really not great. It really isn't. And that's the sad part. But there's a lot of reasons food stamps have been taken advantage of, and everybody wants the perfect system. There's no such thing as a perfect system. It doesn't work. Now, is it 100% of the people scamming doing this? Hell no. I would bet that percentage is so low it's pathetic. The majority of the people that I've ever known that were on food stamps were using it for food. And they always ran out a week before the end of the month for food, depending on what they buy. Now, I've noticed people that do have food stamps that are in the grocery store, they're not very savvy when they buy groceries. And again, that goes to stand to reason, because when you're given stuff for free, you tend to not take very care of it. You tend to just buy whatever, and most mothers are not very good with their kids. I'm sorry if I offend you. But, I'll see kids in the cereal aisle screaming they want a certain type of cereal, and the cereal companies know it. That's why when you walk down that aisle, they have every pretty color you can imagine, from green, purple, this, that. And it's basically to sell to the kids, not mom. And when the kid screams loud enough, I want that one, well, the kid is screaming in the marketing, nothing more. And then mom buys it and says, okay, even though it's complete garbage for the kid. And that's the sad part. If we truly wanted to fix food stamps, and we really wanted to take a step towards that, we'd have to give them food stamps every 2 weeks. We would have to turn around and, yes, we would have to drug test them. I've seen people say that. That would be a must. Maybe once every 3 months. But if they were found with drugs, we don't cut their food stamps off. Okay, starving people is not a way of any form of doing anything, in my view. It means now that person needs to be offered, do you want to get off drugs? You have to go here. And if you're not going to go there, well, then yes, we're going to cut off your food stamps. But they should be given a choice to get off the drugs and maybe better their life. Now, chances are they're going to fail. And sooner or later, they will be off the food stamps anyways. But at least they had the opportunity, and I'm sure you'll get a few that you will end up helping. But then you got to come back to the other question of, what if you find a vet that's an alcoholic and he's selling his food stamps for booze? You going to hate on him? Meanwhile, the guy's probably got PTSD. The guy's going through all kinds of issues. He never got any form of mental help when he got back. Nothing. We're going to punish him? I mean, this goes deeper than just, hey, that guy's hateful, this guy's not, black and white. It really isn't. We are the richest country in the world, and I'll be quite honest with you. If we got to take a hit of $1 million or $2 million because we're helping people to eat, I'm okay with that. I really am. We spend, billions on killing people, from ships to missiles to you name it. Our senators, our congressmen, all of them, they're all crooks and liars. They do nothing but work the system and put money in their pocket on a constant basis. I can see tons of situations where Donald Trump's already done that. There is not one decent person as a senator or a congressman. And to be honest with you, if you think about this, all these people lie, right? Do you see these people trying to help American people? Do you see them trying to help the elderly or the vets that are on the street or the homeless? I'm like, they're not trying to help anybody. And yet, we vote for them. Now, if you think about how ironic that is, we're voting for a liar. We're voting for a thief. We're voting for a crook. It's really what you're doing. And yet, at the same time, we're going to sit back and judge these people that are on food stamps and a very low amount of money because they're a crook. I used to say when I was younger, the people in government are getting the biggest welfare check you can get compared to the guy that's collecting welfare. They are no different than the person on welfare, except they get a bigger amount and get to look good in their 3-piece suit and tie and eat in their family restaurants. They just figured out how to get a welfare check that pays well. That's what I used to say all the time. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit there and get up in a chat and type, oh my God, get a job. Oh my God, do this. When the cards have been stacked against them from the beginning. If we want to change anything and we want to take people off food stamps, then we have to start offering them an education. We have to start offering them a trade. We have to sit down with them and say, is there something you want to do in life? The woman that has 2 or 3 kids and all of a sudden is no longer with her man, I mean, whatever the reasons, who cares what the reasons are? She needs daycare. Okay, and not to go work as some waitress and not to go work in some dead-end factory. She needs daycare to go to school to become a decent job, an LPN and a nurse or something that makes a decent income where she can take care of her kids and her kids can go to a ball game or whatever. But she's not going to do it on food stamps. You know, they're not going to join the team sports. The only people at the school that are playing the football and the baseball and everything out there are the ones that have money. They're not the poor people. And those kids never get a shot. So they end up with some very unpredictable lives. You know, like you'll get second, third generation food stamps and welfare, and people will go, oh my God. Well, we failed them. Okay, mom ended up on food stamps for that generation. But were we helping those kids to go beyond that? Were we helping those kids to not do that? You know, we can go and get condoms at medical clinics and all kinds of different places, but I always ask myself, why? Why don't they just have, you know, some type of machine at the nurse's office where you can just go and get a condom? Why don't we make it more accessible to prevent pregnancy? We still have teenagers getting pregnant. Why? Obviously, the education's failing. Those numbers which should be so low, it's ridiculous. Now, if somebody wants to make a video and, you know, make it rage or hate toward people on food stamps, that is just so wrong on so many levels. It really is. And I'll tell you right now, it's working. It really is. Like the food bank that's an hour for me was requesting donations because, you know, the shutdown, right? And they had to actually put in their post in Facebook. And this isn't about political views. It's not about you writing hate comments. Please keep them to yourself. We're just trying to get food to help the poor. And I cannot believe they had to post that. People are believing the hate videos that these big YouTubers are uploading or talking about and acting like these people on food stamps are horrible people. Look, they're not horrible people. They are people that live down my street. You know, and I can't do it all. You know, there's a trailer across from me, and that particular woman is trying to get disability. She cannot work. You know, she can't. And she had, what was it, a box spring outside and a lazy boy chair, and I'd seen it out there for a couple of weeks. And I went over and knocked on the door. I said, do you want me to take that to the dump? I'm going there. She doesn't have a vehicle. And she said, oh my God, would you? I said, yeah, I'm on my way there anyways. So I threw it in the back of the truck and I took it to the dump. When she comes home from someplace, she feels good about herself not seeing that garbage in front. But I'm sure seeing that garbage out there was really bothering her. And what did it take? One knock on the door saying, hey, can I help out? I'm going that way anyways. I mean, it is ridiculous how bad people want to hate. I don't know why you're allowing your governments, no matter which one it is, allowing you to produce this hate toward Trump or this hate toward Democrats or this hate toward people on food stamps. These are the poor. God, get over it. If you are doing well in your life and you're not on food stamps and you can pay your bills and your kids are in baseball, hey, good for you. You've done well. You had a good family that brought you up. You got the education, or maybe you're just a go-getter. But at least you did it. There are so many things wrong with these people that are poor that it would take an amazing amount of money just to help them and get them to where they need to be, from counselors to free daycare to you name it, to get them to be a productive person. But we're not willing to spend that money. Come on. We used to have insane asylums, and we took them out. I mean, we have so many mental people on the street that we just leave them there freezing at night, hoping they die. You know, even though we know we're mental. Do you hear anybody in government saying, look, we need to fix this? No, you don't. It's not there. So if you come across a video where they're talking about, people on food stamps and they want you to hate them, why are you even watching it? If they're even talking about the end is coming and the people are on food stamps are going to get you in the parking lot, they're going to kill you. Good Lord. Don't be that person. Hopefully you got enough brains to be above that. Anyhow, here's a short take, but there's a lot that could be done for people on food stamps and the poor. Some are scamming, yes, some aren't. Oh, a good amount are not. The ones that are really suffering are the disabled, the elderly, and the vets in general. So, but watching a YouTuber that wants to do nothing but yap and create a hate video, you're part of the problem. Go watch Phil Donahue. At least then you'll know they're actors, and probably they're actors on YouTube. But you're the one falling for it. Catch you on the next one.